Well, we're all waiting on what happens with Kawhi Leonard, and we're probably going to have to wait a day or two here. He is the top free agent left on the board after an absolutely blockbuster opening day on Sunday. And you see his salary there for last season, $23.1 million. So Kawhi Leonard, top free agent, still available. Danny Green, who he was with in San Antonio and obviously just won a championship with in Toronto. The Morris twins, DeMarcus. And then you've got some restricted free agents, Satoransky, DeLon Wright, Kelly Oubre, very attractive player. You've got Seth Curry, a UFA. The Lakers have been mentioned in terms of having interest in him. And you've got Kevon Looney, restricted free agent. The Warriors have said they want him back. And many other teams have sort of thrown their hat in the ring to try to get Kevon Looney in their uniform. Rick Kamla, Isiah Thomas, and Tom Penn here. Live coverage on the second day of free agency 2019. So let's talk about Danny Green. Do you feel like it is a package deal with Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard? Do you think Danny Green is sort of waiting to see what his buddy Kawhi does before making his own decision?
I don't think he's waiting to see what Kawhi does. However, he would be smart to stay with Kawhi because he's had a lot of success with him as a player and also as a friend. I think the team that, gets Kawhi or gets Danny Green, if they can look at both of them in terms of a package, clearly there's a big upgrade in their team if you're adding both of those players to your team.
Well, you just saw the two together. I mean, wow. And he is a knockdown shooter on the perimeter. Playoff teams need knockdown shooters. So everybody's in go-for-it mode. I think everybody would have interest in Danny Green, playoff-tested, championship-tested in multiple locations. The real story is Kawhi, right?
Yeah.
And where is Kawhi going? I personally believe he will go to the Clippers. I think that's been in his head. I think that's been their plan from the beginning, and it's the right match. Looking at the numbers, it should make sense that Green could go with him because they made their commitment back for Patrick Beverley, but they still had so much money and some flexibility.
$55 million, right, to start with?
Yeah, and the flexibility to do something with a Gallinari if they needed to. They could have gotten two max players. They're not going to get two max players. They may get zero max players in Clipperland, but this guy fits with them. He would be the show. They could build a team around him similar to the way that it just happened in Toronto. He gets back into Los Angeles, and we got heavyweights going at it in Staples Center, right? Because he'd be, there's also this notion of him joining the Lakers and being somewhere in that pecking order, 1, 2, or 3. I mean, if that were to happen, you arguably have 3 of the top 5 of your first team All-NBA if they're on different teams.
Yeah.
I just don't know that makes sense. I mean, but where do you see Kawhi going? You think he's going to stay? It's what's left that's really, really interesting.
Yeah, so I look at the basketball options, right? And I look at, Toronto being the defending champion. If he goes back there, they can run it back, so to speak. So that's already made. If you're Kawhi, you know the team, you know the coaches, you know the players, and we just won it. The team that we just beat, Golden State, coming out of the West, they're no longer. So you really are the top dog if you go back to Toronto. You got to be the favorite.
Yep.
Now, if you're looking to move, you're saying, and I'm just talking basketball-wise, if you're looking at the Lakers and you're saying, okay, I can partner with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. LeBron James got, maybe another 2 years and then he's gone. That third year, we don't know what it's going to look like for him. But then I'm sitting there and I'm with Anthony Davis. I'm with Anthony Davis with the Lakers in Los Angeles for the next 5-6 years. We're 2 of the top dogs in this pack, in this era.
Yeah.
So he's got to be looking at who can I partner with? Because I don't think any of these guys right now are saying, I want to go win it by myself. And that narrative out there in terms of winning it by yourself, that has never been true. It's just today's narrative of winning it by yourself. But back when I was playing in the yesteryears, like people want to say we're ancients, okay, the ancients always had big-time partners. When you talk about Magic Johnson, right, we say the best player of all time, some of us do, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, well, that was his partner.
Yep.
Then he had James Worthy. Bird had Magic McHale, Parrish, Dennis Johnson, so forth and so on. All your championship teams, whether it be baseball, soccer, football, they always have great players on the team.
The great Chuck Daly always said, you need 2 MVP candidates to win it. In general, you need 2 MVP candidates if you're going to be in the and that's played out.
I wish he would have gave me another one.
That's true. Well, some are so great that they can do it with just one super duper star.
We get lucky.
But to your point with Kawhi, it would be logical to think, who is my other MVP candidate? Who is my running mate on this? Because the Warriors are going to come back strong. We know what they have over there in Clipperland, or in Lakerland.
Yeah.
I still think he's going to the Clippers, though.
Yeah.
Because he thinks differently.
Yeah. Basketball-wise, right, that was my basketball analogy. Now, I don't know his personhood. I don't know the way he thinks, his value base or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it all leads or leans towards the Clippers. But, when you look at the basketball part, you got to say the Clippers, it's Toronto 1, Lakers 2, Clippers 3 when you're just looking at basketball talent.
Mm. And with, like we talked about, of the top 10 free agents, 9 of them are off the board. The last one is Kawhi Leonard, and it's like Toronto and the Lakers and the Clippers are like in this 3-way power struggle to try to get him. Fascinating to see how that works out. Now, we have more breaking news for y'all, and we just showed you on a graphic. Thomas Satoransky, restricted free agent, 76ers, and $97 million of that is guaranteed. And the greatest part of this move for the 76ers is Joel Embiid will not have to go against Al Horford when the 76ers play the Boston Celtics. We've documented it here. It is a problem for Embiid and the Sixers when they play Horford and the Celtics, but now Horford's the Sixers. So there it is. Rick Kamla, Isiah Thomas, and Tom Penn. And as early as it is, we're on day 2 of free agency. Let's dive in with some early predictions on the conference finals in the East, in the West, and you will name your NBA Finals teams as well. Now, let's go ahead and put a big old asterisk by this, okay? This is subject to change. Am I right about that?
It's a work in progress.
So let's talk about who's at the top of the East. Milwaukee stays almost.
Wait,
go ahead, Tom.
where's Kawhi first? Let's just say.
Well, you said he's a Clipper, or you think he's going to be a Clipper.
For this purpose, you got to tell me at least where he's going.
All right, so for this purpose, let's say I think he's going to the Clippers as well.
Okay.
I'm going to say he goes to the Lakers.
Okay, so none of us think he's returning to Toronto. Sorry, Toronto.
Okay.
I didn't.
But you got your championship, right? Okay, so let's say Kawhi's not a Raptor.
Okay.
Go.
If Kawhi is not a Raptor, then I'm saying the Sixers are the team that's coming out of the East. That's my pick.
Who's the other team that they would it be the Bucks in the East Finals?
I would probably say the Bucks in the East Finals if Kawhi is not in Toronto.
Wow, you really like it that much for the Sixers. I think, look, getting Horford's interesting. It puts so much money in effectively the center position. I still think they need shooting, and I think the Ben Simmons Achilles heel there, where in playoff time he just is so terrified to shoot, that reality's still there. So that's why I'd take the Bucks at this point over the Sixers. Mm-hmm. I'm not even sure I put the Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals, but what the heck, let's stick with it. The thing I like about the Bucks is they still have Giannis and his amazing, unparalleled talent that's on the rise. So he's going to get better. And they brought back, they got Lopez's everywhere now. And they have, they lost Brogdon, which we've kind of banged them around on that, but they retained Middleton and all the others. So I think they keep churning, they keep going, and they're hungry to take it to the next level.
All right, and in terms of Boston, so Horford, gone. Kyrie Irving, gone. Marcus Morris does not seem like he's going to be a Celtic next year. He's free. Terry Rozier is going to be the point guard of the Charlotte Hornets, and God bless him for that. All he wanted was a starting job, right? So good for Terry on that. But now what becomes of the Boston Celtics? You got Brown, you got Tatum, you got Hayward, you got Smart, you got Kemba. Talk to me about the Celts.
I look at the Celts, and I like their perimeter players. I love Jaylen Brown, as everyone knows, Tatum, and then Kemba, right? So I love their perimeter, okay? And I like Hayward, those 4 players. But what I question right now is their toughness inside. And, you know, as much as we like to talk about the 3-ball and the perimeter game, but we always see when the playoffs start and the big guys show up, when the big guys show up and they start throwing their weight around, they are too effective in the paint for the smaller players. And I don't see Boston right now having enough interior presence to stop a team like a Philadelphia if they were to match up with them. We saw what Milwaukee was capable of doing with Giannis in terms of big people coming in. I look at Boston right now and I just say they need some interior play. They need some interior toughness and physicality, which right now they're lacking.
Yeah, we didn't see many big players move to different teams. Most reloaded with their own team. The Horford move is an exception. So I agree with you. They're an unfinished business, unfinished work roster at this point. So with that asterisk we put by it, let's see how they finish off free agency and trades and everything else, because they may very well pick up a player who makes a difference for them.
And maybe Cousins is that talent